This is your WW3 news of a Thursday morning. And Shadow Fleet. We had a lot of talk of these vessels being boarded by Western countries, whether it's Russian or probably from other foreign countries. What are shadow fleets? They're non-official, probably container vessels or oil tankers, or that probably country to avoid sanctions or, do backhand, parallel commerce of global trading, like here in Italy, and then many other Western countries. We have shops owned by Chinese people, honest business people, but they have a parallel importation from China, which does not respect all the the paperwork of that country. That stuff is destined to, like Europe, it's got all those strange little signs and stuff like that. This is not issue. There was a lot of talk about a container ship which Americans supposedly stopped or has passed by. What it seems like is this container ship, they never mentioned the name, it's called the Rich Star. Information says it has members on board which are the Chinese crew, and its ownership is not clear. It says Chinese, but it has one of those flags of an African deadlocked country which has no seaport. It has practically it's not connected to the sea apart from their land, you say territory, I should say. And not even official naval maritime registration records of this vessel. And obviously, like military and commercial aircraft, international states, you should have a transponder. And this is the same case for maritime vessels, whether military or commercial. And the Shadow Fleet do have these, but they have a device which is called spoofing. It gives a false GPS system. It's a very sophisticated system as the information goes. And this Chinese container managed to sneak past without being detected, because obviously the American naval thingy bobs were doing a naval blockade, and obviously they were raging to the vessels. If you continue from this point and onwards, we are obliged to open fire or to be boarded, which under international maritime laws or any type of law is an act of piracy, is even an act of war towards that nation. And it seems they pulled off the shenanigan because there was it naval transponder spooking system they called it, or spoof, gave her false positions. It probably picked up on the radar of the Americans. It was in some type of airport while it was on its way from Iran. It was that famous island taken on board ethanol and stuff like that. And managed by bypass by. I don't think the Chinese made a song and dance about that, because probably they know it's a trick which they use, like the Russians they do. The Russians, this particular type of container, which is Chinese owned at the end of the day, was sanctioned, I think, more than 7 years ago by the State Department for something. They like sanctioning people, don't they? The West, don't they? And it's us to get up the rear end. Anyway, Russians do it since the Archipelago war in Ukraine, war between Ukraine and Russia. It's a war started by NATO upon the Russians. And obviously you have you hear stories, Russian vessels stopped in international water, seized and stuff like that. Even Americans like doing this as well. And there was a case, there was a Russian vessel which was passing through the English Channel. This had a military escort, Russian, what was it, warship. And the English, they just say, stay put. In that case. And it seems like the Russians, well, they took on this trick as well. They have private mercenaries on board, the Wagner group known as, which has been fought in various theatres around the world, in various wars, and even in Ukraine. They done the dirty stuff which officially, by international law, contending parts cannot do certain atrocities. They are private, they do it. They're not fighting for a particular nation. They fight for someone who is who pays them. Leave out this case. Well then, looks like these petrol tankers, Russian owned, they have on board these mercenaries, armed to the teeth, battle hard ready. And they probably have type of, armour aboard, like pads. This is a type of anti-aircraft bazooka, something like that, they call it. And you probably heard it, the Chinese had supplied it to the Iranians for some motive. That's probably a knockdown F-35s. Even though it's a stealth plane, but it always develops a thermal signature from the engines. And obviously they are adopted with high thermally enhanced vision to detect these things and do a precise targeting thing. And probably Americans and Israelis know this. And obviously the Chinese have warned them, Israel and Americans, if you board or you attack our assets, from now on we shall respond with the appropriate action. And probably even these ships may have the same type of equipment which is the Russian vessels. Crew probably may be armed, probably may have a certain weaponry to deter any aggressor, pirate I should say. It's mainly for piracy they adopt these things, but seeing we're living in times the world is war with NATO basically, you can't be not prudent in these cases. At the end of the day, the Hormuz Strait, that's territorial waters of Iran, which no one is going to tell you. I just discovered by chance this information. So now you know.